reacting to a recent threat by an unidentified group to attack two major cities in Delta State over its opposition to open grazing by herders of cattle. Elder statesman Chief Edwin Clark on Monday called out the presidency over its insistence on enforcing open grazing. Although the Nigeria Police and Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association have dismissed the threat issued by the group, which claimed it was protecting the Uthman Danfodio heritage of free open grazing in Nigeria and West Africa. This did not stop the movement for emancipation of the Defense of the Niger Delta MEND from issuing a counter-threat. With the ominous security situation in the country, the last thing anyone needs is further escalation of violence and reprisals. Here to discuss what government must do to checkmate any threat to lives and property in Delta State is security analyst, retired Col Tony Nyiam. Welcome to the program, Col Nyiam. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good to see you again. Well, very quickly, we're concerned about the security situation in Delta State. A group that says it's protecting the Uthman Danfodio heritage are threatened to attack the state because the governor of Delta State hosted other governors of southern Nigeria on May 11, at which a decision was taken to ban open grazing. The police, they claim that they have investigated this and that nobody should worry, that all those posters threatening attack were placed by miscreants. Should we just go with the position of the Delta Police Command and assume that really this was just the work of people engaged in scaremongering and, we should just ignore the miscreants? Or is it something that should be taken seriously from a security perspective?
Thank you very much, and congratulations for you guys' interview of the president. It was an eye-opener to all of us.
Thank you.
On the threat to Delta, whether it's an alleged or actual threat to the governor of Delta, is of concern to those of us from the state, in fact, from the region. The moment I got the message, I passed the information to those I know close to the governor in Delta, worried about it. Having said so, there are a lot of mischief makers all over the country, who are trying to create problems. But on the serious note, the issue really is that there are antecedents that would suggest and would of course make the people of Delta to be at alert. We have all you hear these things and they happen. Like you saw recently, which I'm going to talk about, the alert which the chairman of the Oyo State Security Network, Amatakun, General Ajibola Otogun gave. I can only say that the people of Delta should be up their game. And of course, as he said, worry doesn't come second.
Worry not they carry last.
Worry doesn't come last, yeah.
Worry not they carry last.
I would say second.
Anyway, turn on.
Right. So my question is, as of January this year, we all read reports and, saw the meeting between Miyetti Allah and the Nigerian Governors Forum held in Akure, where there was a consensus about ending open grazing. 17 southern governors then went further in Asaba, issued what's now been called the Asaba Declaration. So why on earth is so much dust being raised over something that by now should be moot?
It's a pity. I think this is where the issue of the credibility of the president and commander-in-chief calls to question. Because with all was done in Ondo, with all the things Southwest governors did, to the point that they find themselves being, having to follow those they govern, rather than them governing. Because the people there were killings going on all over the place, and an agreement was kind of reached. And I would have thought that the issue of open grazing should have been a close matter. But it's such a sad situation that the president has to reopen it himself. And it's sad. This is what is sad about the whole thing. The issue we find is the double standard we all see always happening. You hear of a people making a threat to the Delta State government, and we don't hear anything said by the president or the presidency. But we see the draconian and what I will amount to ethnic cleansing undertone statements coming from the president against the IPOP and by extension, Ndibus. I'm here referring to the dot in a circle. It is a very sad comment to come from the president of Nigeria, because that is enough evidence for those who are compiling to make case in international criminal courts.
Thank you so much, Colonel. Many things to unpack. Number one, it's not just a threat by miscreants, as a lot of people have claimed. And why I say that is because we live in a country where a sitting governor of a state was almost assassinated, had to run for his dear life, he was shot at, and a group called FUNAM, Fulani Nationality Movement, issued a statement saying, we did it. Till date, that group has not been brought to book. There's also the side of the innocent people, or you can say innocent Fulani people in Delta State, that came out and released a statement recently to say, we're not part of it, we don't want to get killed and the likes and things like that. So, putting it back to you now, how do we take this? And owing to the fact that this group also said they had carried out an attack in Delta State prior to this time. Till date, nobody has been able to unravel this Fulani nationality movement that did the one in Benue. And now another group is saying we'll destroy Delta State. And the police is quick to say it's just some miscreants.
I think your question has answered it. Your question by itself has answered the question. I find it very strange what has happened, for example, in Ogun recently, whereby the military were allegedly guiding those who were breaking the law. I don't understand that. And I don't understand how that will help the president. And is it any surprising why there are agitations for people who are crying out, let my people go, those who are crying out for Omo Duduwa Republic? See, the president himself is one of the causes by his utterances and his body language and posturalizations and his, will I say, rigidity is the one causing and driving people, driving youths to join those who are calling for to separate out of Nigeria, or those who are in the middle belt calling for opting out of Arewa Northern fold. Because the president has been rigid in his refusal to allow people even discuss as to what necessary constitutional reforms are necessary. For example, of course, I must give credit to the governors of the Southwest, because what is happening is that people forget that a national constitution can only be respected and complied with if it's accompanied by an appropriate national security architecture. Where you have a constitution which does not spell out an appropriate national security architecture, you will find that constitution will not be respected. I'll give you an example. When President Trump tried to override the system, he found out that the national security architecture of America was such that he could not be forced to comply by the Constitution. In a place like Ethiopia, that has one of the best federal constitutions in Africa, because that constitution is not accompanied with an appropriate national security architecture, we have now a situation where a region of Ethiopia is trying to be free, but the federal said you can't be. So what am I saying in effect? The need for an appropriate national security architecture cannot be overstated. What do I mean? I think with the kind of challenges we face, which is challenges from, we are moved away from mutual distrust, sliding to almost to the level of mutual assured destruction path. We don't trust ourselves. We find we can't trust the president to protect us because his own people, accompanied by transnational AK-47 arms men, are entering the southwest, entering Hausa land, entering the southeast, entering south-south, entering forcing General T.Y. down to cry that the people should go for self-defense. So with all this happening, it's a high time we have what I will call a holistic and sustainable national security architecture. That will involve us, it will be in accordance to the following 3 lines of national security. The first line of national security has to be one that is based on unconventional citizens' army of self-defense forces. For example, in the Southwest, I've said it over and over, the Agbekoyas can form the troops in the rural area, and the likes of OPC can be in the urban areas. These self-defense forces would be the first responders to a crisis. They will be the intelligence for each local government area, to the extent that in each ward of a local government, there should be at least a platoon of these first responders. And I must say, take for example, the way things that provoke the youths in the Southwest to be joining Omo Oduduwas. You have a port, like the port in Apapa, and yet those who control, who benefit more from the port, are from the president's place. All these things are things that aggravate and make the youth restless, to the point that they are all electing to go the separatist path, which we do not welcome. So we need this first line of national security, which is based on the locals of each local government and of the people. And they are, as I've used the word, self-defense forces. This will be followed by a second line of defense made up of a mix of conventional and unconventional. A good example of this, and a good model, is, like I've said over and over, in America, the state's own citizens' army, known as the National Guards. It is manned by the state, it is run by the state, it is people from the state. Now, if I go to the UK, to give an example, that the national security architecture has to support the constitution. In the UK, there are no military regiments in Scotland that you have English officers or soldiers. So,
Colonel Nyiam,
yes,
we have less than a minute to go. If you could go to the third plank of this appropriate security architecture you're talking about before we wrap it up.
Right.
Quickly.
Let me run. I would also say there's a need for necessary state police. But people make the mistake as if the call is for Lagos State Government Police or your state government police. What is being called for is state police. And the state is different. Nigerian state is different from the federal government. So the state police will be a police that is manned and ruled and governed by the citizens of each state. So the Police Service Commission or the Governing Council of the Police has to be manned by the civil society organizations, the NBAs of the states, by the traditional rulers. And in other words, the government is devoid of any control of any state police.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you, Col Nyiam, for joining us. Well, we understand the point you've made about appropriate security architecture, but how will it be different in essential terms from what is on the ground? Is there the political will to pursue it? And would there be the political will particularly to amend the Constitution accordingly? And would there be buy-in across the country? But it's good to share these ideas. Thank you very much indeed.